Yeah, Billy and Harry Hayward. They was good friends of mine, mate. I met them through Jimmy Tibbett. I used to always fight around Lewisham, Deptford, Wood, all round in places. I used to have my licence fighting, mostly Catford, Deptford, Streatham, and all round Woolwich, and all them sort of places. I used to do my licence fights, yeah. But they used to always come to my fights. They loved it, yeah. They loved it, and I had a club called Cheeks, yeah. Cheeks, just around the corner from the pub, the Harp and Heron, and Bill asked me if I wanted to work on the door, and I said, "No, I'm not into that." Anyway, he took me round there. What a nice club, Cheeks, yeah. A couple of times I've been there. There's been no trouble. Sweet, everybody got a lot of respect for Bill and Harry Hayward. You know, I mean, you can imagine the respect they've got for them because they wasn't fighting the Richardsons at all. I mean, you know, Charlie Richardson and Eddie, to them was nothing, you know. Look what happened to Mr. Smith's clubs, you know what I mean, in there, and who cared? I mean, you know, Bill, I think Bill got 6 years from that, did he? The shooting. I think, what's his name? Was it Richard Hart? Yeah, Richard Hart. Yeah, Richard Hart. He got killed, didn't he? In that Smith's club, yeah. Eddie and Charlie Richardson thought he can go in there and cause murders, and they come out with their tails between their legs. And Harry and Bill had a lot of respect after that. They could hold their head up anywhere, yeah. But I mean, that was well before, that was like 66, 67, something like that it was in them days, yeah. But I mean, them times I was over at Acton, West London, in the 60s, working on the doors as a kid in 66, 67, you know. So I was quite used to having fights and rows and all that. So when I did move to Lewisham that way in 78, 79, after the fire in Chelmsford Prison, I moved there with the girl that I was with. Well, she moved there, but I followed her and I stayed there. And then I met Bill and Harry Richardsons. I mean, went down a pub down the road from me, and that's where I met Charlie Richardson and Eddie. They was in the pub with Jimmy Tibbett, and I just introduced myself. I mean, I didn't know one. I didn't even know one at all, but I was training. I think I had my bag with me, with boxing gloves and all that, and I got into Eddie, talking to Eddie, and Eddie introduced me to Jimmy Tibbett and all this, that and the other, and I went down to Beckett, and anyway. But it's not about them, it's about Billy and Harry Hayward. I mean, Bill, I used to really like him, you know. Harry, a diamond, and the way I met them through Jimmy Tibbett, yeah, and when Bill used to talk to me about, Jimmy used to mind their snooker clubs and all that, and Jimmy was really good at Andy, so I knew that anyway. I knew that because he used to train me, yeah, and he used to muck about Jimmy Tibbett and give me right hooks and left hooks, and that's what Jimmy used to do. Jimmy Tibbett was the worst person in the world. If you was in company and he would start throwing punches at you, you know, I swear he was really bad, Jim. But you know, it was Jimmy Tibbett. He was just that's what he done, yeah. And I can remember. It's like a film, really. That Harry I used to be with Jimmy, and a phone call would come. And Jimmy would get out to the phone box, never talked, they had little mobiles then, never really talked that much on the mobile, went to the phone box, crash, and then went and see Harry, and Harry would talk to Jimmy, and all of a sudden, we'd drive down his place, Jimmy said, I've got to go and get a van, come on mate, we've got to go and get a van, and we'd drive around the back and there'd be a lorry for a load of cigarettes, yeah. It's a joke, I swear. Load of cigarettes. And Harry would go, come on, quick. And he'd pass me the cigarettes, chuck me the boxes and this, that and the other, and I'd put them in the back of the van. And me and Jimmy go off, and Jimmy go around lots of spills and meeting people, Terry Coombs, Terry Sharp, all these people, and give them boxes of snout, this, that and the other. And, you know, and now and again, he used to just sell the sleeves in the spills, go up there with the sleeves. Yeah, it was a good laugh and good money really, And I thought to myself, this is like a mafia thing, isn't it? Where it jumps out the back of the lorries and then tobacco and all that over. And a couple of times I've been there and Harry's gone, quick, come round the corner. I go round the corner and he say, look, I've got 50 boxes of scotch or gin or vodka. He said, go on, Jim, crack on, mate. Never charged Jim, never charged him, mate. But, you know, Jimmy come back with the money. He just said him what he wanted, and never say, give him the money there and then. And Jimmy would go, I'll be with Jimmy, and we go around all the clubs and the spills and all that. It was just business, yeah. But it seems strange, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? That they used to do that in them days. I was told that Harry got bird for that, for lorry loads of snout, lorry loads of drink, but it never stopped him. It never stopped him. And what was more funny about Harry and Bill, Harry had a pub called the Harp and Herring, and it was in Deptford. I think it was in Deptford, was it? Yeah, Deptford High Street, yeah. And in the bottom of the pub, he had a cell, like a prison cell, and he'd go in there, and any time he felt like he was going to do any real bad gangster things, he'd go in there, shut the door, get someone to shut the door and leave him in there for a couple of 3 hours, and then he'd sort of like shout out or get on the phone or whatever, and press a button bell or whatever it was to get out, yeah? And he'd go, no, I couldn't have that, mate. I couldn't have that no more. It's not me, yeah? And when I went downstairs to the cellar and I see it, and I went, wow, man, this is the business, you know what I mean? He went, get in there and have a go. I went, no, I said, get in there. So Jimmy Tibbett said, get in there, you silly, you know. Put me in there, shut the door and left me. Listen, then I must have done a big bit of bird. And I know what it's like to be in a cell, but to be locked in like that, yeah, I got claustrophobic, I swear. To be locked in a cell like that, yeah, it was different. It was so different, you know. And I was sort of like, oh, I don't know, I've banged on the door, rang the little bell in there, let me out, and they just left me in there, yeah. I was going crazy, and you couldn't smash the door in, you know, because the door opened inwards instead of outwards, yeah. So it was virtually impossible to try and smash the door down, yeah. And I was shouting and screaming. I was in there for at least an hour or 2 hours. It could have been 2. And they were laughing and joking. Just left me there. Went upstairs, had a drink. Remembered that I was in there. I was supposed to they left me in there forever. No, not really. But anyway, come down, let me out, and I thought to myself, do you know what, mate? That's worse than being in a prison cell. You know what I mean? Because in the prison cell, half know you've done something wrong. You know what I mean? But when you're in there, you ain't done nothing. I really got claustrophobic, yeah, really, really bad. I can understand how Harry it made him feel, yeah. But that didn't stop Harry from taking loads of snout and loads of booze. He still done it, and it was lovely that we used to go around there and pick it up and go and sell it. That was when my little bits of perks. But when I was to fight, and Harry used to come down with Jim and Bill, used to come down and see me fighting. I mean, loads of times Jimmy get a few bob. I know Jimmy used to get a lot more money than me. It didn't really, I wasn't that bothered really at that time, you know. Maybe, I mean, when we was fighting in them days, you'd be only getting like £300 a fight, £600 a fight, and you could have 3 or 4 fights a week, not a week, a month in them days, yeah. You know, and sometimes it build up to £800 a fight. You know, you could have 3 fights a month then. So, you know, it was good money when you're having fights like that. But the only time about having too many fights is one. Mind you, you say that, but when you get in the ring sparring about, you should go to Beckett and all that spar about. I mean, some of the spars were worse than the actual unlicensed fights you was doing. You know, you was having wars in the ring, yeah, when they're sparring around. So, you know, to get in the ring and spar around with people, good fighters as well, professional fighters, and then you're fighting unlicensed fighters, it was easy, yeah. But anyway, I think I had about 41, 42 unlicensed fights. I won a lot, mate. I won a lot, you know. Most, as I said, most of my fights was Deptford, Catford, Woolwich, all around them places in park bars, you know, the back of big sheds and all that sort of thing. Yeah, and most of them were was all unlicensed, but most of them was like what was they like? Bouncers, people worked on the doors of clubs, them sort of things. Yeah, and I'd fight anybody at that time, you know, because you just. I mean, I just come from West London. I just come from West London acting, yeah, and I wanted you to know that, you know, we from West London, mate, we're quite odd, you know what I mean? And I didn't take anybody else with me, just me. No one else come from acting to see me fight. But then right at the very end of it, I went back to West London to do my own promotions. I had 2 of my own promotions, and it was good. You know, I was gutted really that I could have kept it up. I should have kept it up. Frankie Wine, look where he is today, yeah? Frankie Wine, I think, he started doing the unlicensed fighting, maybe, not fighting, but doing all the shows about, a year before me? You know what I mean? So if I'd have carried on, I could have been there, mate, myself. But as it is, you get involved with more money, you want more, you get involved with young girls, you want more money to impress them. It's the same as when I was boxing as an amateur, and going down to pro gyms, fighting with pros and all that, and then, you know, and then going to say to myself, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get into the pro game, get my license and all that. What do you do? Money's more important to you, want quick money, and you go out and do armed robberies and get yourself nicked, and then you lose the chance of a lifetime to be someone, yeah? And I know that I could have been a good fighter. Anyway, it's not really about me, it's about Billy Hayward and Hayward, you know. But to say I used to love Bill. Bill was a man's man, yeah? Harry was always telling jokes. He never stopped telling jokes. Jokes after jokes after jokes. And when you went to their pub, you felt really comfortable, yeah? And I remember when I fought Kevin Paddock, yeah? When I fought Kevin Paddock, I think Kevin Paddock has said to me that me and him fought in Deptford or Lewisham, something like that, but I can't remember. Me and him fought in Cat's Whiskers, Streatham. He went, no, it wasn't there. Not Dagenham, that's right. He said Dagenham. I said, I can't remember it being in Dagenham, but it is what it is. I said, yeah, you're right. And he come back to the Arpen Erin with me, Kevin Paddock. And Kevin Paddock, mate, I liked him. I liked Kevin. And he was with Sid also at that time. Sid Paddock, he died I think he was hit by a bus when he was on a motorbike, and then something happened and he just gave way, mate. He just had enough, yeah? Yeah, but Kevin Paddock's about 23, 24 stone now. He's only about 5'8", 5'9", so he's a big man. And he can really have it, mate. He can have a row. Billy Hayward, Harry Hayward, really liked him, yeah? Really liked him, and he was offered a job. Kevin Paddock, Kevin Paddock he come down with about 4 or 5 guys with him, and all the guys that come with him from Southampton that way was right big lumps, you know what I mean? There's not one guy that couldn't have been no less than 15, 16 stone, you know. I think Kevin was about 16 stone, 17 stone at that time. Me and him had wars. In the ring, Kevin. And I never even knew that he fought Roy. I never even knew that he fought Lenny, you know, until such times that I was talking to him and on the phone one day, and he said to me, yeah, he said, I fought Roy. He said, and I fought Lenny. I went, how'd you get on? He said, well, Roy, he was a blowing up heavyweight from a middleweight. He said, he was a pro Roy. He said, and I just didn't, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that Roy, I could beat him easy. He said, but I underestimated Roy Shaw. He said, Roy beat me, yeah. He said, and when I fought Lenny, he thought Lenny, he said it was Lenny Kettle of Fish. He said, I trained for Lenny. He said, when I got in the ring with Lenny, I thought, this ain't Lenny McLean, this ain't the geezer that they all talk about, this big, tough, hard man. He said, I just punched him around the gaff. He said, it was no one, it was nothing, you know. And it took me back a little bit, because at that time, Lenny had a big name. Everybody respected him. Even I really did respect Lenny as a fighter, you know. And then, you know, when I see Lenny on that film called Box On, when I was there when I fought a guy called Brian Hall, yeah, it's the video Box On. When I fought Brian Hall, and Lenny was there, Lenny was about, I don't know, when I jumped out of the ring, Lenny was about, I don't know, 16, 17 stone, maybe not even as much as that. And we had rows and all that, and I used to spar with him down at what's name, Vic Andretti's pub. And I thought to myself, you know, about later on, I didn't take a lot notice of Lenny no more. Just pushed him aside. We couldn't get a fight, so I just pushed him aside. What's the point? You know what I mean? And then next thing I heard, he was with Mickey Theo, looking after a couple of clubs with Mickey Theo, and he was like 20 stone, 19, 20 stone, big lump. Mickey Theo was a big lump. Mickey Theo was about 5'7", maybe smaller than that, I don't know. But Mickey Theo was a lump, you know. Mickey Theo was a big, powerful man, mate, and he was powerful, you know what I mean? He was an handful, Mickey Theo. I don't know about fighting as such, but he was an handful, was a big guy, big older you, mate, he was in trouble, you know what I mean? But Lenny, evidently, Lenny had a couple of rounds with Mickey Theo, and or one round with Mickey Theo, and bashed Mickey Theo up really bad. But I think nearly broke his jaw. You know, I mean, Mickey Theo must have been, oh, this guy's going to have it, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I was quite surprised that Lenny blew up to 20 odd stone, you know, from the weight he was. And I went into it myself. I went into the steroids myself. Testosterone and all them sorts of things, and Deckers and other things, you know. And I blew up to 21, 22 stone myself. I was massive. I was really, really big. I mean, when you get that big and you got that aggression in you and you're a bit of a fighter, it don't do you no good, mate. It don't do you no good. It's, you know, you can really hurt people bad. That's why a lot of these fighters, a lot of these people that get on the gear, work on the doors of clubs, yeah. And they become quite bad really, because become violence and they hurt kids and all that sort of thing. So steroids are quite bad really, in a way. If you're doing door work and even if you're fighting, they're bad, you know, because they can make you do things that you wouldn't usually do, you know, rip people's heads off. You can turn their heads off, mate, you know, so powerful. But as I say, Billy Hayward, he should always say to me, "Ray, Lenny, you killed Lenny, Ray." He said, "I've seen you fight, and I see Lenny fight." And he said, "You kill him, not kill him, like kill him, but he said you beat him easy, you know what I mean?" And I used to spar with Lenny. I didn't think Lenny was that much, you know. I'm just, you know, I'm not disrespecting Lenny at all. I mean, I say a lot of things about Lenny. People go, "Oh, you disrespect him because it's what we do on YouTube," yeah. But no, I don't disrespect Lenny. Lenny was a proper man. But the worst thing he done was to get on the Voids. The Voids, personally myself, I think they said he died of cancer. Maybe the Voids might have pushed. Maybe the Voids made cancer come out of him, you know. Because when I see Lenny in Brixton, and when he was done for that murder charge, he was like this. They must have given him they must have knocked him out. They must have given him some sort of drugs, because he looked half the man that I remember, you know what I mean? And yeah, and it was like, and he didn't really remember me that much. He, all right, Ray, and nothing else. No conversations, nothing, and I bashed up someone that was giving him grief. Yeah, man, that was in Brixton on the exercise. I bashed this guy up, was giving Lenny some grief. Lenny was sitting down, And this guy was giving them some grief, like a Greek fella or some sort of thing. I bashed him up, mate. Yeah, bashed him up. Anyway, yeah, and anyway, about Bill and Harry, I mean, they had clubs in around Deptford, Catford, Woolwich, all them sort of places. And to think that Eddie Richardson and Charlie Richardson, in a way, after that trouble they had with them, they didn't. They said that they sort of like went into like a cocoon. You know, it shook them really, because I think that they thought that everybody around them areas was petrified of them, yeah. And then Bill and Harry showed them that they wasn't, yeah. They didn't care about them. They wasn't worried about who they was, because they had a little firm, Bill and Harry Heyward. You know what I mean. When I he was funny, Jim, because Jimmy Tibbett, he didn't really care that who he was talking to or whatever, because his loyalties, Jimmy Tibbett, was really with no one, because he would talk to Billy and Harry Heyward. You know, I think even the first people that he ever worked with was Billy and Harry and the clubs and all that sort of thing. But he was, I see him, with Charlie and Eddie, he'd be talking to them a lot. I mean, we went round Charlie's house, me and Jimmy, yeah, and they had these little white dogs. I mean, they were like poodles, but it's French, little French things, yeah. And Charlie, and I think Charlie was ill then. He was a bit ill then. Yeah, and, so Jimmy really didn't care. He didn't care. 1 minute it'd be with Bill and Harry, the next minute it'd be with Charlie and Eddie. He didn't care, mate. He didn't. All Jimmy wanted to do, fair play to him, was earn money, mate. He was earning money. He had a good name. He was a good, hard man, mate. You know. And Harry Heyward and Billy Heyward respected him. And I can never forget Harry, the way it was when he used to call us around the back of the pub, back of the houses, and load up the vans with tobacco and drink. You know, it was like a mafia turnout. Honestly, it was like it's crazy. You know, I see some of these films where they're chucking boxes of tobacco, cigarettes out the back. People are just lining up, and there was people just coming in paying for it there and then, for tobacco, sleeves and all that game. I don't know if he ever looked after the old Bill, but I should imagine he did do, because he never really got nicked. He got nicked before that, I think, for that. So I think he might have weighed the old Bill off, yeah. I'm not quite sure if Bill and Harry got involved with ice cream vans, or was it taxi cab game? I'm not quite sure. I know that Blundell's were involved with the ice cream vans, weren't they? They was the governors of the ice cream vans, Harry and Billy Blundell and Eddie Blundell. But I mean, them two was there for, mate. Ain't it funny, innit? That the way it goes, like two brothers, Bill, Harry, Bill, Eddie, Charlie, and Eddie Richardson. I mean, then he got the other lot, and he got the others. I think there's about 5 brothers in that firm, but they're heavy, man. You know. But anyway, yeah, it's like, and then, I introduced Peter Kelly to Jimmy Tibbett, and they become good mates. And I think that he took a lot of tobacco, a lot of drink off of Billy Heyward and Harry Heyward. Yeah, man, I used to love all that game. I really do. I miss it. It was like, it's like growing up. You're still growing up, but it's like going back, going into that world, yeah. Meeting all them people, and they're all dead now, mate. I can't believe they're all dead. The only ones alive really is Eddie Richardson, and yeah, man, they're all dead. Crikey, man, it's quite frightening to think, yeah, that little firm that run that side of London, Deptford, Catford, Woolwich, and all around them places, Blackheath. And then now they're all dead, mate. That's Eddie. But Eddie's still a very, very heavy and dangerous man. It doesn't matter about him being old. He's still very, very dangerous man. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Rail. Just a little video about Harry Hayward, Billy Hayward. And there's a lot more about Bill and Harry, but it goes on and on and on. Anyway, take care. Have a nice morning, yeah? Bye-bye.